Okay, so now we're ready to start our first practice citation. We're in the Sources tab of our project, and now we're going to go back to our instructions and see what it is we need to do. We're on step 4. We're going to create a citation for a database article from SIRS. So the first thing we're going to do is follow that link. The article is titled "Voter Fraud is Not the Problem." Now, we're home, we're not in school, so we have to put in our username and password. But we have to first fill in the name of the organization, which is our school. So if I just type Amity here, then the high school pops up. You can see the logo up here, and I can sign in using my regular computer name and password. Just a little bit of a warning as this article is coming up. Sometimes students save links from school and then they don't work at home. There are a few ways around that. One is to go to the library page, Amity Library, to our database. And then from there, just sign on to any one of our databases. Once you're signed on, very often those links will work if you sign in first. Another option is, if that doesn't work either, to just go back and find the title of your article. Here it's called "Voter Fraud is Not the Problem." And then after you've signed in through the database page, which is really the only place you can sign in, if you just were to go to SIRS online, it wouldn't work. Then you can do a search for that title. Of course, you put it in quotes. And remember that when we put something in quotes, it's searching for that whole phrase with all those words together in that order. And I could search, and there the article comes up. And that really works in most of our databases. So there I am. I see my article, and I'm ready to go back and start my citation. I go to New Source. Well, it's asking me, where is it? Where did I find it? Well, we know I found it in the SIRS database. So I choose Database. Then it's asking me further, okay, what is it? Is it a magazine? Is it a book? Is it a photo? So I have to go back and look at it and see, what is it? Where did it come from? It tells me it's a newspaper, and I actually also recognize the name of the newspaper, the Washington Post. So I can go back and I can choose newspaper. And at that point, I get the full list of all the things I need to fill in. First thing is the name of the database. Well, we're searching in SIRS, so I will have to accurately write out the name of the database. But look, NoodleTools knows some of the most common databases. It doesn't know all of them, but it knows some of them. So if you can find it in the drop-down list, you can use it. If it doesn't come up exactly as you know the database is named, then you'll have to type it in yourself. It's asking me for the URL. I can go back and find that. It's a very long URL. Remember, MLA will allow us to just use what's known as the root of the URL, which is basically the database company. So I don't have to copy that whole thing because, first of all, to most people, they won't be able to use that link because they don't have the same kind of access that we do to this database. So I'm just putting in up to and including the .com. That will probably work too. The most recent date of access, today. Now I need the author's first name. Okay, I see his name is Eugene Robinson. Rather than try to remember from screen to screen, I like to copy and paste as much as I can to avoid spelling problems. There is no middle name. They didn't tell us one, if he has one, so I'm not going to worry about that. I need the article title. Well, that should be easy to find. We've already talked about it a lot. So I'll copy that. And then it wants an English translation of the article's title, which doesn't make sense because it's already in English. Now, most newspapers have a section and they have a page number. Like they'll have a sports section, a politics section, a business section, and all those sections will have pages. So let's see what we find here. Well, it's not giving me a section number here. Sometimes I like to cheat a little and think, well, I know the databases make their own citations. Let's see if they found a section number. Now, the first thing you may be saying is, Mr. Musco, if it made a citation, why do I have to make my own? Why can't I copy and paste it? The reason is because these citations were generated by computer and they make mistakes all the time. Not sometimes, really commonly. I'll give you, for example, a case where I know that a lot of the databases can't tell the difference between a newspaper and another kind of periodical like a magazine or an academic journal. So they may cite them the same way, but they're actually cited differently. But this is useful for finding information that isn't immediately available on the page, like maybe a section and page number. In this case, it's not. There is none listed there, so I'm not even going to worry about that. What do we do when the information just isn't available? Well, we look for it, and when we're sure it's not available, then we leave it blank. So it wants the name of the newspaper. Well, that's easy to find. The Washington Post. It's a very famous newspaper. It's a national newspaper published in Washington, D.C. But I don't have to say it's published in Washington, D.C. under the publication city because there's an MLA rule that says if a newspaper is a well-known national newspaper, you don't have to put the name of the city. Now, if this had been the Washington Tribune, maybe from Washington, North Carolina, nobody would know that it was from North Carolina. So I would have to put that in here. Now it wants a publication month, day, and year. Let's see if we can find that. Okay, September 25, 2012. So I'm going to go back and put that in. I have to choose 25 from the drop-down menu. I can do that. And then it wants the month, and I'll have to choose September from the drop-down menu. Oh, it didn't keep the day. And I'll have to choose that manually. And it wants the edition. That's because some papers publish in the morning, in the afternoon, and at night, because the news changes. In this case, is there an edition number? I don't see one. Scroll all the way down. I don't see one there. So I've looked. I'm not going to worry about it. Oh, the dog is barking. That's okay, buddy. Don't worry. Let's see what else it wants. An annotation. There's something called an annotated bibliography. We're not doing that now, so I won't worry about it. So now I can save it. And look, there it is. It's absolutely beautiful. It starts at the author's last name. It ends at the access date. And what I'm going to do now is copy that. And I'm going to go back to my instructions. And my instructions ask me to submit that right here under Submit Your Citation. And this is the same form that I've been working at for a while. And I would submit the citation here, and then I would move on to the next step. So now we're going to go back to our instructions, and we're going to do step 5. If you need to, in order to do step 4, if you need to look at these instructions, please do that, and then you'll complete it. And then after that, you'll move on to step 5.